yeah, so I will get that replay from her, and I'll post it also in the Gold Blooded group. So she's going to go over, like I said, some tips and strategies on not speaking with leads. But fuck, what was I just saying? What was I just talking about? Jesus. Follow up. Yeah. On follow up, she's going to do her webinar right now. Sorry, I can hear her downstairs. It's throwing me off. But yeah, so she's doing her webinar on following up with leads and some strategies and things like that. So like I said, I'll post a replay so all you guys can see that as well. If people aren't watching it, I know some of her team is probably watching it right now. I just noticed because we only have 9 attendees, so it's pretty weak. So I'm wondering if we could also, if Alicia and I aren't going to do them combined, like which we will sometimes, I think it's good to have a female and male perspective on a lot of the questions that we get in here. So I think it is beneficial. So we will do that once in a while when we aren't doing it. Or if, we decide that there's going to be a couple of weeks we want to do some separate things, then I'll probably go back to Tuesdays. It's just they always go late on Tuesdays, but we should definitely have more than 9 attendees in here. That's for sure, right? And I understand that people are watching Alicia's right now too, so it's probably beneficial for us to either do them together or separate on different days, right? But yeah, that being said, anybody have some wins? Like I said, I know there's a couple people. Maybe they're actually bailed to go watch Alicia's right now because I know. Yeah, I just seen that in the chat. If you guys, I know you guys have been asking for some guidance on paperwork. $599 buyers in the past 14 days. Sick. That's great. That's awesome, Jesse. Did you get those strictly through people coming in through the webinar, or were those people you had spoken with and that you kind of either sent the direct checkout link to, or how did you get those buyers? I'm just curious. I was trying to get feedback to Landon and Stapes, and yeah, and like I said, they're also working on, I don't know if you guys tuned into the webinar last night. If you didn't, you should watch the replay because they went over basically the new webinar, just kind of a revamped version of the webinar that they had created. Old ad of running forever and yes through the web class. Oh, that's awesome. That's good. That's a positive for sure. I think it's going to just increase from here, like what they've done. Like they said, I had spoken to them before too, and I was like, I think the webinar is a little long. Lots of people are losing interest. They're messaging me saying like they couldn't sit through the whole thing, and they were like, the length of the webinar, isn't really the determining factor. And we've had experience with the length of a webinar this long, and we've, found that it still converts really well and that the quality of leads are higher. But like they said last night, which they've learned, which is great because I didn't even take it into consideration either, is that the price point, the $99, that's kind of where they need to gear adjust the webinar length to kind of fit with that $99 sale. Because if they were selling like a $500 product, then obviously, a lengthier webinar might be beneficial. But anyways, stoked to see it. I mean, the numbers don't lie, so we'll just see how it goes, right? We'll see what happens. But excited. Nobody came to me complaining about the other one. Good. Yeah, you should definitely watch the other one. If you guys haven't watched the webinar from last night, you should definitely watch that as well. They also talked about they're working on a daily method of operations that they're going to release, which is literally going to be a step-by-step guide that you guys can follow, that all of us can follow. I'll even follow it. That's just a daily method of operation. So it's going to be basically like a checklist of things that you can do every day. And if you stay consistent with that, basically there's no chance that you won't get some sort of results. And this is not just for online marketing. This could be for any type of business. It doesn't even have to be for business. I mean, if this is just something you need to do, if there's a goal you have, it can be like, I don't know. Let's say that you let's say you are trying to put on like 10 pounds of muscle or something, and you need a daily method of operations. This is something that you can kind of a framework to follow. So it's going to be obviously geared towards online marketing and what we do. But nonetheless, I've kind of done something similar, just like an unwritten daily method of operations, but I'm stoked to have something actually structured, and see kind of what they suggest. I'm always open to suggestions. So it's huge. If you just follow some sort of routine, I mean, it's massive. It's been when I've had my best months, my best results is when I'm in routine. When I fall out of routine, fucking shit just starts to fall apart. That's for me. That's something I need to work on. Some people thrive when they're out of routine. Like Aaron Fraser, he's like, he gets fucked up when he's in routine. Even Alicia, like she's great when she's out of routine. She loves routine too. I mean, like for me, I just like, I need that routine, or else I just am like, I lose momentum. Jumping around, trying to do too many things. I'm back. I'm gonna be focusing 100% on gas. Yeah, it's easy to get sidetracked, and the thing is just allotting specific time frames that you can actually get certain things done, and manage your time properly so that you're doing it consistently. I mean, if there's other shit on the go, then obviously that's life. But if you can just, set aside specific time frames throughout a day or week, and you have specific things that you need to get done, and their income producing activities and their personal development, you have them separated like you need to do. You need to check your ads, and you need to create ads, and then you have like a half hour set aside that you need to do that every single day. And you have some strict guidelines on when you shut ads off and when you boost ads, and you stick with that, and then you set aside a half hour for reading, that type of thing. If you stay consistent with that, that's where I find the most momentum starts to build. And, even missing a couple of days in a row can really throw you off. And it's a lot harder to regain that momentum than it is to continue with momentum. They use the analogy that it's like a freight train. I think that's in the compound effect. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of power to get that train up to speed. But once it's up to speed, nothing's stopping it. As soon as you stop that train and you're starting right from scratch, and it takes a lot of fucking energy to get back up to speed, right? That's another thing too that people need to be cautious of, is just getting a little bit too heavy into the learning side of things, and forgetting to actually implement. It's just as important to actually use those actionable tips that you learn in those books that you're reading, and actually implement them as quick as possible. If you learn something, make sure that you just set aside like, okay, here's one key point that I read in this book, or I learned on this webinar, or I watched or I listened to this on this podcast, and you honestly just write it down, or you make a mental note if you're have a decent memory and you're not going to forget it, and then just be like, okay, this is one thing I'm going to take away from this, and I'm going to actually implement today, and then do it and implement it. And I've been doing that for the last probably like year. And it's been huge. I mean, it's a lot. If you're just kind of cranking through books and shit like that, and you go through a chapter and you fold the page down and highlight it, and then you never look at the book again, and it's just completely useless. I find it's better to take one key point and try and implement it daily, or whenever it comes up, than to set aside or just start to build up a stack of these actionable tips that you're learning, and then try and implement them down the road. It just doesn't happen. It just fucking you always forget, or something else comes up, or the next thing comes up, and it's just like this cycle. So learning can make you feel good and feel productive, but the needle doesn't move. That's right, man. It's totally right. And lots of people do it. I even do it. Like, fuck, I do it a lot, man. I'll just get so engulfed in all of the content, and the development, and trying all these new things, and I sometimes forget that I'm kind of taking away from my businesses and my business in a sense. Just something to be cautious of. Like I said, you can learn fucking everything in the world, but it doesn't mean shit unless you implement it. It's not going to do anything for you. So anyways, who needs to learn about paperwork, or who here doesn't know how to do some paperwork? I know there's videos on how to do it. I can show you like from scratch what I do for someone in the States, what I do for someone in Canada, I just uploaded the price sheet into the gold-blooded page, which most people should have. I think I uploaded it to the gold-blooded page back in the day as well. But just for others that are going to watch the replay on this, we will, what's the time? Yeah, we will just kind of go through everything from scratch, okay? And yeah, like where is everybody at with paperwork? Because like as far as knowing, where is it, like on a scale of 1 to 10, do you know nothing about how to do the paperwork? Do you know a bit? Do you have a pretty good understanding of it? Are you like super comfortable with doing your own paperwork? Nobody? No worries, Patrick. Okay, so I'll show you kind of where I go to get. I'll show you where to go to get. First, I guess I'll start with just Canadian paperwork because it's a lot easier, and I just what I know from when I bought it and the video sent me. Yeah, so there's that video. It's pretty straightforward, but then there's obviously the other half of that paperwork. So that's more so for a purchaser's, from a purchaser's standpoint, as opposed to like a sponsor's standpoint who needs to fill in the rest of the paperwork and actually make sure that everything jives before it's sent off to Enagic. Because there are some blanks that are left open in the videos, and for good reason, because they can't fill out the sponsor's information or the ID and things like that. So I was hoping Alicia was going to do this because she's better at the paperwork than I am. But let's just go right from scratch. I'm just going to, I'll take you guys, I guess, to where you would get the paperwork. I'll also upload some paperwork into the gold-blooded file section. It's just going to be, actually, I'll add, and let me just go back to the screen. I'm not watching the screen right now. Yeah, she was, just so I know from what I bought. Yeah, I was getting Alicia to do it for a while, but she's got too much of her own shit to deal with now. So, let's see here. So Chris did send me kind of like a bunch of paperwork that was kind of mostly done, and it was he actually did. He went above and beyond and put in the extra time to circle things in red and complete a lot of it. And he did US and Canadian paperwork. I will try and find that so I can post that or upload that in the file section, just so it's there for you guys. But for now, we are going to, let me just see where I was at here. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. I'll start right from just messaging the gold-blooded chat if like something happens and I can't, like, because I can't see the chat all the time. So if like you guys are trying to get a hold of me or something, just messaging the gold-blooded chat. I can see it on my phone right here. Yeah, so first of all, I'll just share my screen and then we can go in right from where you get the paperwork from the Enagic, the Enagic back office. And all that good stuff. And then we will also, I'll show you where to find the prices. I'll show you the tax calculator, which I use for the United States paperwork. And I'll show you kind of where to fill out what type of thing and how to use the price sheet. It's fucking already $7.50. Oh shit. All right. Okay. All right, so going to enagic.com, right? Enagic.com. Everybody should have been here at some point in time. And you go log in. This is EWS. This is the Enagic back office. If you guys haven't created an account yet, it'll just need your distributor ID. And you can create your account with your distributor ID. And then that gives you access to your Enagic back office, EWS back office. So here you'd have to register your distributor ID, distributor phone, email, validate, right? And then it will give you a login. Then you're able to enter the back office. So basically, if you're looking for anything paperwork related, it's typically in the, so this is just the distributor area. This is the tax calculator we'll touch on in a little bit. The Enagic forms is where you get all the paperwork. So for paperwork, as far as paperwork goes, distributor area is kind of what we're concerned with. So you'll go in here, Enagic forms. You can select by country, right? So typically, I mean, lots of people are selling to other countries, or they're promoting to other countries, running ads to other countries type of thing. So you would find it within here. So let's just start off with Canada. Canada, English forms, product order forms. This is all the stuff here. Like there's every form that you could think of, right? So for example, and I might even do like a more in-depth training on this, because this is going to have to go over how to fill out the UConn form, how to fill out the trifecta form, all that. I'll also actually maybe pull up some previous paperwork. So just use, no, actually I can't do that because there's probably credit card information on and shit. So yeah, you would just go through here, product order form. So the product order form is going to be what we need to use for well, fuck, we didn't make it too far, did we? Wonder if it's because I'm using Safari. Oh, fuck, it's up top. My bad. Whoops. So yeah, product order form. Download it. This is a little different than it is on Chrome. So I'm hoping this is actually. Huh. Let me just get out of here for a sec. I haven't actually pulled forms right off the Enagic website in a while. If you guys should have these all saved. Once you have them, you should have them saved on your computer somewhere. So yeah, you go here, download, whatever, save it as whatever you want, product order form. Let's just make sure this is the proper form. Looks like they've updated it actually. But anyways, regardless, we're going to be using the product order form and distributor application. Download that. Pull that up. So this is another thing too. Like if you guys are trying, like you can print these off, but typically what's going to happen is you're going to send your leads if they're looking for paperwork, like for a trifecta, for example. I'll also put in, I don't know how far we want to go with this exactly, like right off the bat, because there's some videos and things that need to be sent. I'll actually, you know what I'll do is I'll just post, I'll post kind of a template or an example of an email that I myself or Alicia would send to a buyer, because it has all the order forms for a trifecta. You need 2 product order forms. You need 1 UConn order form. You need the Canada return policy as well. So I'll send you just kind of an example of an email that would be sent out, because it also has a price breakdown and it has a video on how to fill out the paperwork. Most of you guys probably have this in your email somewhere. But yeah, so all of this stuff, right, would be filled out just based by the buyer while they watch the video that should be emailed to them. Nowadays, the coaches are usually sending all the paperwork. So all of that stuff should be sent just from the coach. You guys shouldn't have to really worry about this, about sending it to people. But if they do ask who to send it back to and they send it back to you and it's all filled out, except obviously the sponsor information, right? You would put your sponsor information in there. You'd put your distributor ID number in there. And then this shit would usually be blank, right? The actual amounts. So yeah, and then obviously the payment method is pretty straightforward. If they're paying by MetaCard, check it off. If they're paying by credit card, done. If they're paying by, they can't pay by cash debit. They can pay by debit and check, or sorry, cash and check. But usually this is just we will only deal with credit card and MetaCard in Canada. If they are sending cash, then it has to be sent in the mail, right? And or a cash draft, a bank draft, sorry, a cash advance. It has to be sent in with the order forms, the physical copy. It can't be a photocopy. And then your sponsor ID, this stuff, they don't even really care about this in at the Vancouver office, the 6A support. You can even put your own name there, even if you aren't 6A, or you can put, because most of you guys won't know my ID numbers or anything like that. So it's cool if you leave that blank, or just put your own information in there. Even if you aren't 6A, it's fine. Make sure there's signatures, right? And make sure you sign it. So another thing too, you don't necessarily need to have this printed off and fill this out. You don't need the hard copy printed. You don't need to fill it out and scan it. What I always use, Alicia and I, is DocHub. And DocHub is great. So you would go into DocHub, you need to set up an account, you pay for it monthly. It's really inexpensive. I don't even know what it is. It's probably like $8 a month or something like that. I don't even think it's that much. You go into new, pull from your computer, grab the document you just downloaded from the Enagic back office, boom, right? You can set up signatures right here. You can go in, sign off if you'd like with the signature. This is just a quick tutorial on DocHub, I guess. You can create signatures in here. You can use the trial version of DocHub, but I think it only gives you a couple signatures or something. But you can do it for the first couple times you use or do paperwork. You don't need to necessarily purchase DocHub right off the bat. But you can create signatures. It's sick. You can use your phone. Literally, you put your cell phone number in here, hit send. It'll send you a little pad. You can actually write on with your finger, create a signature, send it back. Upload image, draw it right here, boom. That's another way to do it. Looks like shit every time, but still one way to do it. This is another way to do it, which usually creates, like, it doesn't look, it makes it look really nice anyways, but you just go type. Obviously you can see here, Garrett Francis, and it generates a few different types of signatures you can select one from, right? So that's how you use that. And then you would go in here, right? And you would be like, you would fill in, you would use the text box, fill in whatever you need. You can use the check mark here if you want, for example, and you can even drop this down, or sorry, you can select that. You can drop down the size because that check mark's way too big. So let's say, for example, here, they're ordering a K8, check that bad boy off. Then you would go back up to your text box, select the text. So now this is where I'll show you kind of how you do the pricing. So let's say this, for example, they're doing a K8. You would go to, I uploaded this in, fuck off. Okay. So I just went and uploaded this here. This is the price sheet. It's in the photos section now of the gold-blooded page. This is the price sheet that I use. This is the price sheet that is most up to date for Canada. So basically what you would do here, if they're purchasing a K8, depending on the province, right? Ontario, BC, other. So that includes Alberta, Saskatchewan. All you do is look at the price. So the K8 is $5,000. Let's go back to Doc Hub. Product retail price, $5,000. You don't worry about any of this. This is an Enagic payment. I'll get to that in a second. Don't worry about any of that shit. We're not using Enagic financing. Single payment, $5,000. GST. Shit. GST, we'll go back here. Let's say British Columbia, for example. Let's use Alberta. Other. That's where most of mine come from anyways. So $250 for GST. $250 for GST. If let's say, for example, you're using BC, then you can just combine the taxes, GST and PST, and you can throw those in there. You could put $600 right here. No big deal. Shipping, look down here. Other. Delivery by UPS, 5 to 7 business days, unless they've requested otherwise, but usually this is always standard. They'll just do the $31.50, 5 to 7 business days. So this doesn't matter if it's a K8, an ESPA, anything. This is the shipping right here. $31.50. Unless they're picking it up, then obviously make sure they don't get charged shipping. So then you can add that up yourself, or you can just go here. This is the total cost of everything is in the shipping section for Alberta, the shipping column or row. Sorry, 5281.50. Throw that in here, 5281.50. And that's that. This shit should all be filled out by the buyer. That's what you need to fill out. You need to register them. Make sure you enter this in. If you're 4A, put 4A in here, your sponsor information, your phone number, distributor ID. Okay? The rest of this stuff is filled out by them. Distributor ID, you can put it in here as well, but I never do. It says do not fill in. Oh, sorry. No, actually, that's for them. Don't put that in there. This is where you want to put it, yeah. And then make sure you sign off as a sponsor signature. You can also put it here. If you leave that blank, they usually don't say anything anyways. But yeah, so that's how you would do a form for, let's say, a K8. Now that we've covered that, now the same would apply. Product order form for the Inespa. Any of these products, you use this product order form. Even the Ukon Sigma, which is the 1-year Ukon. However, it's different if you're doing just the Ukon. So make sure when you're doing this and you're not just like sitting here clicking this like I just was, like a dummy, and you just actually click on it and scroll up and it's up here. So this is all the same, basically the same. Do they want the capsules, the tea, the soap? Usually by default, we just select the capsules unless they mention otherwise. And this even looks different. They've definitely like updated this recently by the looks of it, but I'm still using the old shit. You can fill this out right on here. Damn, that's pretty new. So that's sick. They got to do that with all the paperwork. That's awesome. But yeah, so I'm still doing it old school, just like I showed you. Obviously, the product order forms aren't. You're not able to do this digitally, but for this one you can. So same thing. Add this up. I mean, you use the price sheet. So obviously it's $760. They have that entered in there for you. But when you use the price sheet I just showed you, the tax is going to change depending on province. So your total is going to be a little bit different. Enter your ID number, rank. When you're selling a trifecta to somebody, they're going to purchase the Inespa off of you if it's a full trifecta. So in that case, if they're purchasing a full trifecta, you would be the sponsor on their Inespa order form, product order form. Then they would actually be the sponsor on the K8 order form, and they would be the sponsor on the Ukon order form because they're purchasing it off of themselves. So they will leave the ID number blank, and Enagic will fill that in for them. Okay. Basically, so I should probably just, that will be also clarified by the coaches when they send the paperwork off. They will know which products and they'll clarify which ones they need to actually purchase off of you and which ones they're purchasing off themselves. Okay. But for full trifecta, they purchase the Inespa off of you. So you're their sponsor on the Inespa product order form. And don't get confused when I say Inespa product order form. The product order form is the product order form. But the one when you select Inespa, what the fuck is it? So yeah, I just mean Inespa product order form because you would go in here and check off Inespa. So that one, you would be their sponsor. The K8, like I just said, I kind of fucked up when I said that you would fill out your name and stuff on the sponsor for the K8. You wouldn't. That would be them for the sponsor. If you did the Inespa, you would be the sponsor on their Inespa order form. If they're purchasing a full trifecta, K8, Inespa, Ukon, okay? That's the only time that they will be purchasing the Inespa off of you. It changes depending on the products they're buying, but the coaches who are doing the coaching calls and sending the paperwork should be aware of that. If you guys have questions about that and you're sending paperwork to them, just reach out to me first and I'll tell you on which order forms you need to be the sponsor and on which order forms they need to be the sponsor. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes for Canada. And then also with the Canada, you need to do the return policy. Return policy is really straightforward. All they need to do is print and sign. I'm stoked about this Ukon thing, actually. It's about time. Okay, and this is another thing too. Make sure that they put in their credit card information and stuff like that on the Ukon order form because it's for the renewal. Even if they decide not to renew it, they need it on there or Enagic will not accept the order. So that's how you would do that. Now let's show you an example of a US order. You go in here to the States, single payment for distributors. Sure, let's just say if they were financing. You would go in here, product order form, distributor application. It's going to be very similar, but you need the Enagic USA form for USA buyers. Okay, so it's all going to be the same. Now, how you figure out the prices, you will go to the tax calculator. So it's still in distributor area, in the Enagic back office, EWS back office, go to tax calculator. Brings you in here. You can select the product. Okay. Let's just do the K8 again. Select the K8. So here's where you want to do single payment, right? Unless they're doing Enagic financing, which we'll get to, but let's just say single payment because let's say they pay by credit card or they're financing it. Single payment. Now, if you want to find out the address, so you should know what city and state they live in. Let's just use, I'm not sure if that's spelled properly, or I think it is. Maybe it's an Ian. Anyway, let's just use Austin, Texas for an example. For address, just so you're not like prying and asking them for their exact address, you don't necessarily need it. You might have it, perfect. If you don't, just put a 1 zip code. One little way to get around that is to just go to Google, Austin, Texas. Maybe that is with an Ian. Oh, no, I was right. Austin, Texas, zip codes. Codes. That word. So then it'll bring up some examples of Austin, Texas zip codes. Now you do have to be slightly careful with some big cities like this. This may even be one of them. Some of their taxes are different depending on the county or district. So just try and be aware of that. It's pretty hard to tell. You're usually fine, but I've just had it happen in the past. They'll just email you and say that the pricing is a little bit off. But let's just say 78716. 78716. Put that in here, 78716. Check tax. Boom. Here's the tax is 8.25% in Austin, Texas. So you would put that in the tax column. You would put the total 4980 in the order form, just like I showed you before. Where the tax is, you would put 410. Where the shipping is, you put 23, and then the total 4513.85. So that's how you figure out for U.S. taxes. That's how, because it's different for every state. So this is what you need to use is the tax calculator. Now, for example, if you wanted to use the tax calculator to figure out Enagic financing, let's just go back. K8, Enagic financing. So I should have just fucking stayed in there. So if you want to check out financing for Enagic financing for the States, let's say they want to do, depending on which term they want to do, you can tell them what the payments are going to be depending on the term. Let's say a 10-month term, check tax on a K8. So this is what they need to pay. This is the total. They need $660 down, plus all of this shipping, handling, tax. This is how much they need down, $1,193.85. And then they're going to have $432 is going to be their monthly payment for 10 months. So let's go back to Doc Hub. So you'd fill that in. So let's get rid of this. So they're going to do some Enagic financing. Boom. 10 months, right? The term that we just agreed on. So this is obviously Canadian form. So the shipping and stuff is going to be a little bit different. So let's just actually show you. So this is how it's done for the States, right? You can also go up here and we'll use our tax calculator for Canada. Go to the K8, Alberta. Let's just use Alberta again. 10-month period, check tax. This is the breakdown. $30 shipping. Go back up here to your text box. This might be, let's see, installment charge, tax, GST, 25.5. Not sure. I guess maybe you would just actually check off, if you were going to do a Enagic payment, you would just check it off here, but you would still use their GST up here, I guess. Honestly, to be honest with Enagic, they're not super picky on how you break down the shit as long as the total is correct or the down payment is correct. So like, let's say I even just put the tax in here. 2515. And the shipping was $30. The deposit is going to be $680. And the down payment total is going to be $1,061.50. So that's how you would figure that out for Enagic financing, okay? And then you can also tell them like, okay, well, this is kind of your options. Enagic financing is honestly last resort because they don't pay out full commission until the product is paid out in full, so they'll pay a percentage. But you can say like, these are your options. This is basically last resort, but yes, Sorry, am I just in your post there? Yeah, I see it there as well, but you guys get the gist of it. You guys will be able to figure this out. It's pretty straightforward once you actually look at this. I just want to show you how to use the tax calculator and stuff like that. So you can also tell them like, okay, that's what you're looking at when you're doing a 10-month term. This is a 16-month term. It's going to cost you $270 a month. Okay. The total down is a little bit more. It's quite a bit less monthly, but that's what it's going to cost you. Okay. So that's how you use the back office tax calculator. If you're looking to do Canada, just click the icon up here. If it needs to be the States, boom. Select the products. You know, that's basically how you do it. What else? Again, if you're looking for zip codes, you just got to Google it. That can give you the breakdown. You can get all the forms from here to download. Again, most of the time, the coach doing the coaching calls will send them the paperwork as well as videos on how to fill out those order forms. So that's not really much you have to worry about. It's just after when they fill out their whole section, they will be sending it back to you, and you'll need to basically fill out your information. So does anybody else have any questions? Does anybody you can put GST under HST? It's the same kind. Okay, so I thought. Okay, we also can check that as an example of ours product form when we purchase, but how we send paper form to finance company when they finance it. I'm not sure what you mean, Stas. So because I bought a trifecta my first sale, I would enter myself as a 2A, correct? Yeah, let me just go up here and start from the top. Okay, there's not many questions, it's just what I know from what I bought. So because I bought a trifecta my first sale, I would enter myself as a 2A, correct? That's correct, Derek. And yeah, most of you guys will have paperwork and videos on how to fill out that paperwork from when you got started. So that's a good place to get that stuff, as well as if you're doing Medicard, there's also a video that comes with that shows you how to fill out the Medicard financing application. I can put those in the files section. I can put them on the gold-blooded page somewhere, just so you guys have them. And yeah, that's about it. I can try to think if I'm missing anything, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. That's basically what I do to send in paperwork. That's what Alicia does. And DocHub is a lifesaver. So I highly recommend getting DocHub, especially if you start to do more paperwork. Like I said, you don't need to pay for it right off the bat. I think you get the trial run. I can't even remember. You only get a couple signatures or something, but which isn't a big deal. You usually need your own. But with Alicia and stuff, we've used multiple signatures here and there. But yeah. Does anybody have any questions on how to fill out paperwork? You can be. Let's say if they want to go finance through Medicard, do they have to send paper to Medicard, or we send for them after they fill in? No order forms go to paperwork or go to Medicard. In the video that you see when you're using Medicard, like the buyers get to use Medicard, it's just literally an instructional video on how to, with a link to the Medicard application, which is an online application, and it just steps on how to fill out that online Medicard application, and that's it. Then Medicard gets the application. Once the Medicard application is submitted, they'll review the application. If they're approved, they literally just send the funds to Enagic. So the order forms never go to Medicard. They only go to Enagic. No physical forms go to Medicard unless they request some sort of like pay stubs or proof of income. But that's it. Nothing you send to Medicard, or nothing from Enagic gets sent to Medicard, I should say. And the application for Medicard is all online. And that will be, if they want to go through Metacard, the coaches will send them the link to the online application as well. Any questions? It's about an hour. I think we got the gist of it. I hope I answered everybody's questions. As far as even just figuring out pricing, right? It's really good to just use the tax calculator to figure out pricing and just how to read that price sheet is also beneficial. So yeah, let's tentatively plan for next Tuesday for the next webinar. Yeah, and if I'll let you know otherwise, if like let's say Alicia and I decide to combine and do one on Wednesday, then we'll do that. But I'll let you guys know ahead of time. But for now, yeah, let's tentatively plan for next Tuesday after the GABS webinar. That's right. That's right, Adam. And also, it's going to be dependent on if I like talk to Lannon and Stapes and they're like launching something or whatever, then they've actually cut it down quite a bit. So we'll just we'll plan for Tuesday. And I'll post this replay in the Gold Blooded page. I'll post Alicia's webinar replay into the Gold Blooded page. It's going to be on follow-ups, following up with leads. And oh yeah, I did contact Metacard by myself a year ago. Just shit, I forgot. Thanks for refreshing. Thank you. No worries, Stas. Yeah, sorry, you guys over there in the East Coast, it's getting pretty late. So yeah, we'll wrap this up. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope that answered some questions as far as completing paperwork goes. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace. I was going to talk about the Vegas event, but it's getting too late. So we'll do that next time. If you're on the fence, I just want to say if you're on the fence, then just fucking make it happen. You got to go to Vegas. It's going to be next level. I guarantee you there will be not one bit of regret if you go. That's all. That's all I got to say. All right, guys. Peace.